putain, je l'ai plus là. Allez.
Oh!
Oh non, ils sont cons quoi. Oh non, mais n'importe quoi.
Have you ever wondered what cicadas taste like?
I'm wondering right now.
I haven't actually eaten a bug since I was 3 when I had a spider.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm really psyched about the whole trillions of cicada coming out. Cheers.
Actually, I'm less scared of this. Okay.
Oh, the crunch.
Do I have a wing hanging out of my mouth? It's literally in there.
It's not a wing, it's a leg.
Hey, that's actually quite delicious. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing. I know, I have it in my tooth. It's really bad. I'm just going to eat more so that people can't see it. All right, Vernon.
Bon appetit.
A lot of talk about reparations on TikTok. It's 2021. How are we to determine who gets reparations and who doesn't? Reparations as a first step to healing? The first step to healing is forgiveness. I think as a pastor, you're responsible for your flock, your congregation. Your job is to preach the word of God to them. And if you're not preaching that forgiveness is the first step to any kind of healing, you're leading your flock astray. People are going to say all kinds of things about you. You can't control what other people do. You can't control what other people say. You can only control your response. The only person you have control over is you. No one else is responsible for your healing. You have to take those first steps. And as unfair as that may sound, that's just the truth.
In 2017, she tweeted, "Say it loud, say it clear. Everyone is welcome here." Now, the opposite.
I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come.
Progressive Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweets, "This is disappointing to see. Seeking asylum at any U.S. border is a 100% legal method of arrival."
Okay.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that, and it actually was Mike Pence on the debate stage, but...
Yeah. Well, actually, the nonpartisan GovTrack has rated you as the most liberal senator. Is that a socialist or progressive perspective?
No. I've said I'm going to go to the border, and...
When are you going to the border, Vice President?
The administration has asked... I'm not finished. I've said I'm going to the border.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
The level of corruption that John Roberts, Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice John Roberts, is involved in. And there's been a lot of accusations about places that he's gone with high-level criminals. We are about to see justice come for John Roberts. So, wanting from the U.S. Marshals travel logs. They are wanting logs of everywhere that the justices have traveled, especially John Roberts. Is that they are trying to rein in the Supreme Court justices so that they know, number one, who they are meeting with, who they're hanging with. They also want to know where they're going. They want to know when they are getting gifts, when they are getting trips paid for, and how much those trips were worth. The Senate is really, well, these two men in the Senate are really nailing down because they know what we know about John Roberts. And I don't want to get into all that, but if you are in the know, you understand the things that John Roberts has been accused of and the things that we know about John Roberts to be fact.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is once again getting sharp reaction to remarks she has made about Israel from a tweet earlier this week.
We have seen unthinkable atrocities committed by the U.S., Hamas, Israel, Afghanistan, and the Taliban. After an intense backlash, she did so today, writing, "I was in no way way equating terrorist organizations with democratic countries. Tonight, Nancy Pelosi and Democratic leadership issuing a rare joint statement criticizing Omar for drawing false equivalencies and welcoming.
I do believe there's President Biden said 90 days, basically. He wants to have a report, I believe, at the end of 90 days.
I mean, I don't know what he need 90 days for. We've been collecting on this for 13 months, 14 months, whatever it is. It exists. There's been presidential daily briefings produced by career intelligence officials every week since this outbreak occurred and before that. So it doesn't take 90 days to look at it. It does take 90 days to look at it and allow people to possibly manipulate what they're finding to suit a narrative that Fauci and others have been espousing for over a year.
Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Joe, pay attention.
Overseas trip as President of the United States. I'm heading to the G7, then to the NATO ministerial, and then to meet with Mr. Putin to let him know what I want him to know. We're going to make it clear that the United States is back and democracies of the world are standing together to tackle the toughest challenges and the issues that matter most to our future. They're grounded on democratic ideals, a shared vision of the future. Vision of the future. Like the original Bloody 100th and those RFA pilots. To quote another Irish poet, he said, "The world's changed utterly. A terrible beauty has been born. We're in a different place than we were 10 years ago. Better position, but a different place. If we're going to prevent the worst impacts of climate change, limiting global warming to lead the global transition to Obama." This is not a joke. You know what the Joint Chiefs told us the greatest threat facing America was? Global warming. I believe we're at an inflection point in world history. I'm going to communicate that there are consequences for violating the sovereignty of democracies. To prove that democracies, as we rise, democracy is over. It can match the speed and scale of the 21st challenges. The democracy can still deliver for our people. Democracy doesn't happen by accident. Our democracy has never been perfect. It's a democracy for your generation and those of your children. Nothing. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, and God bless.
As we developed our budget and as we continue to defend this nation, which is our chief responsibility and my top priority. Our budget also includes $617 million to counter the damaging effects of climate change and additional funds to prepare for future challenges like another pandemic. It also helps us counter the belligerence that we face from Russia, especially in the cyber realm. And we'll be working hard to combat challenges that make service in the ranks more difficult for the men and women of the department. From getting a better handle on the extent to which we experience extremist behavior.
The purpose of the United States military is simple. It is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We must resolve the issue of sexual assault and confront the issue of extremism. We are in an era of increased strategic competition. The current strategic landscape is witnessing rapid change and the potential for increased threat to the peace and stability of various regions and indeed for the world. States and non-state actors are rapidly transforming technologically, and we are bearing witness to a fundamental change in the character of war.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Behizzy News Station. Failed Supreme Court Justice nominee Merrick Garland is 100 billion% standing up for integrity as he opposes audits. Play the clip. Yes.
We will apply the same scrutiny to post-election audits to ensure they abide by federal statutory requirements to protect election records and avoid the intimidation of voters. In that regard, we will publish guidance explaining the civil and criminal statutes that apply to post-election audits. And we will likewise publish guidance with respect to early voting and voting by mail.
Yes, for a party that believes in integrity and that believes they won over 81 million people to their commander-in-chief. Yeah, they are absolutely enthusiastic to hear that the Department of Justice will be preventing any future audits. We're trying to prevent those future audits. Back to you, George.
The Attorney General's commitment to voting rights fueled outrage from at least one elected official in the great state of Arizona. State Senator and self-proclaimed oath keeper Wendy Rogers had this response, quote, "If Attorney General Merrick Garland thinks he has a right to our ballots and machines, he should go to court. If he uses force when multiple courts have already authorized this audit, he will be in violation of the law. Lawless thugs is all they will be." Merrick Garland, who is proving so controversial with the Democratic base. He is taciturn. He is deliberative, almost crippled by his desire to follow the rules. He said today Congress should pass voting rights legislation, crippled by his desire to follow the rules. He will be in violation of the law. Lawless thugs is all they will be.
If there's anything less than 2.1 million in the AZ audit, I'll let you read the rest. And Josh Barnett tweeted, remember the 2.1 million we were supposed to be counting in Maricopa? Well, we know the actual number's way off from that 2.1 million. How is that possible? Wow, so you mean to tell me on 11/03/2020, the number was somewhere around 2.1 million. Well, 2,089,000 and something. But a few months later, everything's been preserved, and now we're doing a recount, and the total won't match up? We could go from 2.1 million to 1.8 or 1.7 million. Who knows? It could be that far off. Wait, but the county had 2 recounts and they confirmed the accuracy and everything was beautiful. Did they recount the full 2.1 million? But in that period of time between that and the audit, where did the rest go? I'd like to know.
Republicans from a growing number of states are traveling to Maricopa County in Arizona, everybody's doing it, to witness a controversial election review ordered by GOP leaders in the state Senate, a sign that similar probes may be sought elsewhere across the country.
This is not a recount. This is a real forensic audit. And sometimes the people get the two mixed up, but this type of in-depth and deep dive on the process of the elections, how things were carried out, the chain of custody, all of those details. When you look down there, one way or the other, they're going to bring some interesting facts. The process is transparent, making sure that the process is fair, every vote is counted properly. The detail from examining the paper, the ballot, from examining the ink, whether it's real ink versus, let's say, copied ink, if you will. The number of processes you have to go through, the steps, how each individual station is well coordinated and well recorded in terms of cameras and the checkpoints and the rechecking, the balancing of all the whole process. It's very thorough. I'm very impressed by that.
There's an enormous amount of accountability on the floor. Not only do they have the side cameras, the overhead cameras, each station has a supervisor. You know, the accountability to me is extremely important, and Vernon and I both agreed. The process here is phenomenal. I mean, really, really well done, well thought out, from the count to the imaging, back to the total counts. It's really well done.
There's no secret that there is going to be an audit pretty soon for the most part. And when we look at this and see how this is going, I hope that this will be the process that we follow when we get back to Georgia. This is very nonpartisan. Everybody wants to make sure this happens. So again, I'm impressed with the process here, and I'm looking forward to the report and see what the results will be.
I got to be honest, because I've been in this process since the beginning, Since November 4th, the morning of November 4th, November 5th, I was involved in the process. I don't give a damn who's funding it. I personally don't care. You know why? Because I just walked through that floor and I saw what's going on. I saw the process. I saw the accountability. I saw things that we haven't seen anywhere else. I don't really care who's funding it. They're getting the job done. It's being done right. It's being done in a manner that is so more transparent when you look at that floor than a casino floor. You know what? That's what we need. Let them get the job done. Let them put out the report, and let's tell the rest of the country what happened in Arizona, and it shouldn't happen here again. It shouldn't happen nowhere else in this country.
If you like this video, press like. If you love it, subscribe.